His scent hit me like thunder. I was walking down the hallway, quiet steps, pressed sleeves trying to disappear like always, and then it wrapped around me. Sharp pine. Burnt clove. A little bitter but warm underneath. I stopped breathing. Not because I wanted to. My lungs just forgot how. I wasn't in heat. I swear I wasn't. But my skin tingled, spine arched slightly, and knees almost gave in. It pulled at me, like invisible rope tied to my chest. I looked up. He stood at the far end of the hall. Still, dark uniform, blank eyes. He didn't move, just stared. And I looked away. I forced myself to walk. One step, two. Suppressants were still in my system, I was sure. I took them this morning, didn't I? Heartbeat loud in my ears. I passed him, head down. His scent got stronger, dense. It clung to me like heat in thick air, like something claiming space it wasn't allowed to. I hated how safe it made me feel. That night, I hid. The panic room was cold. Underground, metal walls. My hands trembled as I checked the lock. Twice, thrice. I couldn't calm down. Something in me was shifting, wrong and wild. My body wasn't ready. Or maybe it was never mine to control. He was outside the door. I knew it. I didn't see him, but I could smell him through the vents. Barely. Faint. Like he was standing guard. Like always. Why? Why always him? He never talked to me. Never looked at me in front of others. Just shadows. Footsteps. And scent. Always scent. It wasn't supposed to be him. Not after what happened last time. They told me to hide what I was. To keep my head down. Betas live longer, someone said once. Omegas like you get claimed, bred, broken. So I lied. Took pills. Wore blockers. Avoided eye contact. Didn't smile too much. Didn't speak unless spoken to. I survived that way. Until he came. I remember the first time I saw him, really saw him. I was 15. Hiding in the stairwell after another suppressant crash. Sweaty. Dizzy. My heart racing like it knew what was coming. He walked past the others. Didn't flinch. Didn't hesitate. He crouched in front of me, eyes unreadable. Gloved hand reaching out but stopping inches from my skin. Don't touch me, I had whispered. He didn't. Just left a small water bottle beside me. Then walked away. That night I smelled his scent on the plastic. It lingered. Sharp pine. Burnt clove. It made me cry. I didn't know why. He's always been like that. Quiet. Watching. Too close. Too far. I told myself it meant nothing. But when that protest turned violent and I got dragged into the crowd, it was his arm that shielded me. His scent that cloaked me, and when someone reached for my collar, he growled. Low. Dangerous. Like the wolf inside him was waking. Still he never spoke a word to me. Not until that night outside the panic room. Are you okay? His voice was deep. Rough. Not meant for softness. I didn't answer. I sat with my knees pulled up. Head buried. My scent was leaking. I could feel it. No matter how much I tried to suppress, it was faint, but real. He leaned his back against the door. I could hear it. Could feel his heat through the cold metal. They don't know, he said after a long pause. I made sure. My breath caught. He knew. Of course he did. My mind flashed to the nights he appeared outside my window when I had nightmares. How he always stood closer when I was anxious. How his presence calmed the trembling in my chest even when I hated it. Why are you helping me? I asked, voice barely a whisper. Silence. Then, you're not just an assignment. I hated that sentence. It cracked something in me. Because if I wasn't just an assignment, then what was I? A liability? A target? A temptation? Or worse? A bond waiting to happen. I buried my face into my arms, tried to shut it out, but the truth settled in my bones. Heavy. Familiar. He knew I was Omega. He knew all along. And still he stayed. Watched. Protected. Not because he had to. Because he chose to. I should have reported it. Told someone. Demanded they replace him. But I didn't. Because some foolish, broken part of me wanted him to stay. Even if I never touched him. Even if he never touched me. Even if he was the fire and I was the match. That night, I fell asleep on the floor. His scent faint through the vents. wrapping around me like something I didn't deserve. I dreamed I was free, but woke up still claimed by silence. I was just the hidden son. Not the rightful one. Not the heir. Just the kept secret behind soundproof doors and locked walls. My father called me his shame that breathes. So I breathed quietly. Ate quietly. Lived quietly. My scent was masked since I was 12. Suppressants crushed my hormones until I couldn't tell what was real anymore. I wasn't allowed to be Omega. Not in a world built by alphas. And then, he arrived. Assigned without warning. Tall, cold, silent, dressed in black. Always 5 steps behind me. Never more. Never less. His face like stone, body like shadow. First week I didn't speak to him. Didn't need to. He wasn't here for me. He was here for the family's reputation. The hidden Omega wasn't allowed to need protection. Just isolation. But I noticed him. The way he stiffened when I walked too close to the windows. How his eyes scanned every hand that reached toward me. He didn't blink much. Didn't breathe loud. But he watched. Always watched. Once I tripped in the garden. Nothing serious. Just slipped on wet grass. Before I could even blink, he was there. Fingers tight on my arm. Holding me like I was made of paper. That was the first time I smelled it. His scent. It bled through his clothes for 1 second. 1 terrible second. Pine. Burnt clove. Smoke at the edge of fire. My chest clenched. Legs weak. He pulled back so fast. Didn't speak. Didn't look me in the eye. Just walked away like nothing happened. But I remembered. Every night after that I smelled him in my memory. Sharp and wrong and warm. I pressed pillows to my face, pretending it was just side effect of skipping my meds. But I knew. He knew. One morning I skipped on purpose. Just 1 pill. Just to test it. That day, his throat moved when I passed. His jaw tightened. His eyes flickered red for 1 breath. Then it vanished. But I saw it. I felt it. He started walking closer after that. Not 5 steps. Just 2. His hand hovered near my back every time we crossed crowds. If an alpha came near me, he'd shift position, block them with his body, without saying a word. Why do you stay so close? I asked him once. In the hallway, voice low. He blinked. Orders. You always follow orders? He looked at me then. Really looked. His eyes weren't cold. They were burning. Quietly. Deeply. Like he was trying not to drown in something he didn't ask for. No, he said. That night I couldn't sleep. I pressed my forehead to the cold glass of my window. I knew he was outside. On the balcony. Standing there like a statue. Facing the stars. My scent was hidden. But something in me wanted him to feel it. Wanted him to fight it. Or fall to it. I started testing more. Touching his sleeve by accident. Dropping things so he'd lean close. I became reckless. Addicted to his silence. He never spoke more than necessary. But his body did. Tension in his arms. Breathing faster when I sat too close. The way his fingers twitched when I smiled at other alphas during the party. I wasn't supposed to go to that party. But I bet I wore something soft. Something that clung to my skin. My scent blocker was half-dosed that night. Just enough to slip. I watched him from the corner of my eye all night. Watched him stand against the wall, unmoving. Watched him stare when one of the minister's sons offered me a drink. When the alpha leaned closer to whisper, I felt the air shift. I didn't look, but I heard the glass shatter. By the time I turned, my bodyguard was standing inches away, his knuckles bloody. The other alpha had stepped back. Everyone else froze. He didn't speak. He just looked at me. My heart thundered. He took out a handkerchief, wiped his hand like nothing happened, and said, "Time to leave." I didn't argue. In the car, I didn't look at him. But I could feel his scent stronger than ever. He was burning. And somehow, it warmed me. I started dreaming about him. In ways I shouldn't. His mouth on my neck. His voice calling my name like it belonged to him. I woke up sweating. Needy. Angry at myself. But still, I skipped another dose. Another. Until one morning, I collapsed. Not because of heat, but because I had pushed too far. My body crashing from chemical imbalance. I passed out in the library. When I woke up, his jacket was around me. Thick. Heavy. Smelling of him. He was sitting beside me. Eyes storm dark. "You're hurting yourself," I looked at him. My lips dry. Voice weaker. Why do you care? He didn't answer. I reached up, touched the collar of the jacket. It smells like you. He didn't move, but his throat moved again. Slowly. I don't want to be invisible anymore, I whispered. His eyes locked with mine. You were never invisible to me. Silence cracked between us like thunder. Then he stood, took back his jacket, left. I sat alone, body aching, heart louder than ever. I shouldn't want him, but I did. And I knew he wanted me too. Even if he never said it. Even if he burned trying not to. I was still the hidden son, the unwanted Omega. But to him, I was something else. And I was starting to need that more than I should. 3 years, 3 whole years I stayed hidden. Far from him, far from the name I was born with. Far from the world that wrapped collars around throats and called it love. I dyed my hair, changed my scent signature, moved through cities like wind, touching nothing, letting no one touch me. I took my meds on time, covered my gland with cold metal, wore scentless clothing. I was free. But freedom is a fragile thing. It broke on a Tuesday. Rain clung to my clothes as I stumbled down a back alley. My bag was gone, pills gone. I didn't plan for this. I thought I had days before my heat. But my body had other plans. Wrong place. Wrong time. Wrong city. I fell against a wall. Breath shallow. My fingers trembled as I reached into my coat, hoping for at least one blocker. Empty. My scent cracked open. Not a slow leak, an explosion. Sweet. Sharp. Desperate. I was trembling when I felt it. That scent. His scent. Stronger than memory. Pine. Clove. Burned sugar at the edge of smoke. I looked up. He stood at the end of the alley. No umbrella. Rain soaked his shoulders. I couldn't move. I wanted to run. To scream. To vanish again. But I couldn't even stand. He walked toward me. Each step loud in the silence. I tried to speak, but my throat felt dry. And then he took off his jacket. Thick, heavy, still warm. He draped it over me like it was nothing. Like the years hadn't passed. Like I hadn't left him bleeding in the dark. His scent hit me in the face. So strong it made me dizzy. I gripped the collar. My fingers curled like claws. Don't, I whispered. He didn't say a word. But his eyes, God's. His eyes were the same. Burning. Hungry. Wild beneath all that control. He crouched. His fingers brushed the back of my neck. Barely. I flinched. Don't touch it. My gland throbbed beneath his breath. You'll hate yourself, I said, voice cracking. You'll regret it. Still silent. I reached up to push him away, but he caught my wrist mid-air. His grip wasn't tight, but firm. I couldn't breathe. He leaned in. His lips brushed the skin just beside the gland. Not biting. Just there. Heat surged through my body like lightning. My chest rose. My legs bent. I was folding in on myself, even as I tried to stay upright. I hated it. I needed it. And then he bit. Deep. Sharp. Right into the center of me. I gasped. Not in pain. In release. My body jerked forward. Everything collapsed. I wasn't cold anymore. I wasn't alone anymore. I was his, even if I didn't want to be, even if I'd spent years running from it. He pulled back, my scent now fully mixed with his. Marked, claimed. I couldn't lift my head. Rain still fell. Hard. Relentless. He stood. I looked up expecting anger. Word, but he just stared. Eyes like storm. Mouth tight. And then he turned. Walked away. Left me shaking. Bleeding scent. Wrapped in the same jacket he gave me. He never said a single word. Not one. But I felt everything. Every bit of rage. Longing. Possession. Guilt. He hated me. But he still marked me. And I still let him. I thought I had time. I thought I could forget. That his bite would fade like a bruise. That the scent he left in my sheets would grow weaker each morning. That my body, mine, not his, would remember how to breathe without needing him. I was wrong. It started with heat crawling under my skin. Not slow. Not gentle. A firestorm. I woke choking on my own pheromones, mouth dry. Heartbeat loud in my ears. My scent, wild, sweet, broken, filled every corner of my room. It soaked the pillows. It made the walls feel like they were pulsing. I locked the door, bolted the windows, drew the curtains tight. I didn't call anyone. Not him. Especially not him. But maybe my scent did. Because he came. Not with warning. Not with words. The door cracked like bone under his boot. I turned dizzy, half bent, burning inside my skin. He stood in the doorway, breathing hard. I read. Not anger. Not sadness. Something deeper. Something rut. My legs gave out. I gripped the edge of the desk. Tried to speak. My voice came out like ash. You shouldn't be here. His eyes moved slow over me, like he was trying to memorize the shape of my scent. I couldn't stop it. His voice sounded like gravel underwater. It's the bond. I tried, then he stopped talking. I don't know what part of him snapped first. His control. His reason. Or just the last thread of silence holding us apart. But he moved. Fast. The next moment, I was pressed against the cold wall. His scent crushed the air between us. Pine, smoke, clove, and something else now. Something feral. I gasped. My body arched toward him even as my mind screamed no. I was supposed to run. Fight. Lock him out. But I reached for him. Like instinct. Like gravity. Like weakness I couldn't unlearn. His mouth didn't touch mine. It went lower. Neck. Collarbone. Then my gland. It throbbed. Swollen from the last bite. Mark faint, but not gone. You already did this, I whispered. He didn't reply. His hand wrapped around my wrist, pinned it above my head. Not hurting, just holding. My knees shook. I felt the world spinning. You said you wouldn't again. His lips brushed over the mark. I lied. My chest heaved. I wanted to say stop. But what came out was, then do it right. He did. The bite was brutal. No teasing. No hesitation. Just teeth sinking into what was already his. My back arched. A cry broke out of me, raw and shaking. And then everything blurred. I don't remember how long it lasted. Time melted. I was fire. He was wind. We clashed. Burned. Became something no words could hold. My scent wrapped around his like ribbon. His poured into me like storm water. I remember clawing at his shirt. His hand shaking as he held my waist. My name falling from his lips like prayer. I remember collapsing. Breathing in sync. Chest to chest. Silence heavy. His hand brushed through my hair. Gentle. Slow. I wanted to speak. I didn't. Because if I said anything, I'd fall too deep. And I was already drowning. He didn't say anything either. Just pulled the blanket over me. Tucked it beneath my shoulder. Then he stood. I heard the rustle of his jacket. The soft click of the broken door trying to close behind him. I waited for the sound of boots leaving. But I only heard his scent fading. By the time sunlight touched the edge of my bed, he was gone. Again, they caught me when my guard was down. I wasn't thinking my suppressants were working. My hood was on. Head low. Hands hidden. But I smelled. Too soft. Too Omega. And in this world, soft things get sold. They shoved something over my nose. The scent blocker was chemical, sharp, artificial. Burned my throat. My vision blurred. I remember the van. The cold floor. The ropes digging into my wrists. My gland pulsing under the collar. They strapped around my neck. It wasn't just to silence me. It was to strip me. Strip my scent. Strip my name. Strip everything I had left that felt like me. I didn't cry. I just waited. I thought, maybe he won't come this time. Maybe he's tired of saving me. Maybe I don't deserve to be saved. They kept me in a small room. No lights. Bare floor. 2 men outside. 1 inside. None of them alphas I knew. All of them smelled like ash and blood. One kept touching my cheek. You'll fetch a good price, he said. I turned away, bit my tongue. Blood filled my mouth. It was mine. I tasted it, swallowed it. Let it sit there. Time passed like dripping water. I stopped counting. I stopped moving. I stopped fighting. And then, everything shattered. The door didn't open. It broke. Slam. Crack. 1 sound. 1 heartbeat. Then his scent hit me. Heavy. Wild. Unhinged. Burnt clove, pine, and something darker. Something that had snapped inside him. It filled the room. Suffocated every other scent. Made the guards drop to their knees before they could react. He didn't yell, didn't say my name, he just walked in. And the man who touched me, gone in one hit, body against the wall, blood on the floor. I didn't move. Couldn't. I just looked at him. He looked back, not at my eyes, at my wrist, bruised. My shirt torn, my neck, colored. I saw the flicker, in his jaw, in his throat, in the way his hands curled into fists. He didn't speak. He dropped to one knee. His hand reached up, not shaking, not soft, and ripped the collar off with one pull. My scent spilled out like a storm. I gasped. My body jolted. My gland throbbed, exposed again. And before I could breathe, his mouth was on it. Hot, wet, angry. His tongue slid across my gland like fire. He licked once, twice. A third time, slow. He wasn't asking permission. He was undoing what they did, replacing it, claiming me. Again, his scent wrapped around mine, pushed out the chemical, marked me, branded me, burned me from the inside. I felt it settle in my skin, in my chest. The bond. Reawakened. I heard someone whimper. Not me. One of the guards. Crawling backward. He stood slowly, turned to them. Anyone else touched him. His voice, low, controlled, but death lived inside it. No one answered, because no one dared. He looked at me again. I should have screamed. I should have slapped him. I should have run. But I melted, right there, in front of everyone. Because only he ever came. Only he ever pulled me from fire. Only he ever made my body remember it was alive. My lips trembled. He didn't reach out. He just said, "You smell like me again." And I closed my eyes. Whispered, "You took too long." He exhaled, scent deepening. "I'm never letting go again." I believed him, because his scent said what his mouth didn't. I was his. And this time, he wasn't asking,